Hello, my name is Dr. Giuseppe Paladini and I'm the founder of Stepping Bricks. Now, today we're going to talk about something special, which is if you had 100k in your bank, what would you do? So let's assume you have 100k in the bank and you want to invest in property, but you don't know what strategy you need to take. So assuming that you're doing vanilla buy-to-let, then that's the easiest strategy to get into. And this is your 100k. Some people will tell you, buy one property, do buy, refurbish and refinance and rent. So it's the BRRRR strategy. And you can do this once every six months on average. Sometimes you can take less, sometimes you can take more. So let's say on average, you have access to a lot more mortgages if you wait at least 6 months since you bought the property. So you have one property here. Okay, and you pay 100k cash because it is in need of a refurb. You can probably pay between 90 and 100, let's say. I'm not putting into the calculation the stamp duty or the solicitor fees, just to keep it simple. So let's talk about property prices in general. So if you do this, you can do one every 6 months. So once the property is ready, you can rent it, you can refinance, pull your money out if it's a good deal, and then do it again. So you're recycling your cash more or less every 6 months, let's say every 4 to 7 months. So how many properties can you do in 2 years if you do one every 6 months? Well, the answer is 4, because you do one a month 6, then month 12, month 18, and then month 24. So that means you cannot rent your property until you finish the work. So the first rent will come in a month 6, the second rent will come in a month 12, the third rent a month 18, and the fourth rent a month 24. So after 2 years, you have 4 properties. Let's try a different strategy. Let's say you have your 100k and you split it into 4 deposits for 4 different properties. Okay, so now you need a mortgage. Actually, you need 4 mortgages. And now this is the strategy that you could take instead. So you have 4 properties, can be houses, can be flats, depends which part of the country you're investing. So sometimes you pay more, sometimes you pay less. Let's say on average, you have 100k properties. So you need deposit, which is 25% for a buy-to-let, so 25k per property. So in total, you have 25k times 4, that's still your 100k. Now, what happened here is, if you buy with mortgage, you can buy a property that is ready-made, so you don't need to do any work at all. Sometimes you can even buy property that have a tenant in situ already. So, of course, you have to do your own due diligence. You need to check if the tenant was a good tenant with the previous landlords. You can even ask for 6 months bank statements of the landlord to see if the rent has been paid regularly or if they had any issues with the tenants. Let's say, for example, the tenant has been good and you want to keep the tenants once you buy the property. They will pay you rent from day one, which means you're having cash flow from day one. Now, if you do a 2 years fixed rate mortgage, okay, after 2 years, you still have 4 properties like in the first example, but the advantage of this second strategy is that you have rent from day one, plus you are spreading the risk in 4 times. So, for example, let's assume that one of the tenants doesn't pay you rent. Of course, you don't want that, but let's say that happens for several circumstances. You still have 3 rents coming in, so you're not relying just on one property, because that's the risk. When you don't spread your strategies, when you don't diversify, then that's the problem. You're putting all your eggs in one basket, and this is what you want to avoid as a professional property investor. Remember, you're not a landlord, you're a professional property investor, which is completely different. Now, what happened after the 2 years? So you didn't do any work, the properties were ready to go. Before the 2 years fixed rate ends of your mortgage, you can uplift the value of the properties by changing something in the property. For example, a bathroom, a kitchen, something that uplifts the value of the property. So just before the 2 years end, you do some work, and now you have 2 types of uplift in value. The first one is your natural increase of capital appreciation because 2 years have passed. And the second one is your forced increase in value, which is changing the bathroom or the kitchen. So you now have 2 chances of recovering in full all your money from the 4 deposits after 2 years. So at the end of the 2 years, you still have 4 properties in each of the examples. However, I'm going to take it one step further now. So you have 4 properties with 4 rents. Let's assume that a property cash flow you around £500 each, okay? Net, I'm talking about net. So in order to have £500 net, you need to rent it gross more or less 650, 700, okay? It is possible in the UK to find properties below 100k to rent it for £700, okay? So you need to find the right spots. So let's say you cash flow £500 per property net. 500 times 4 is £2,000 a month with this strategy. £2,000 a month, after 2 years, you have £48,000. So rent, after 2 years, you accumulated £48,000. Now, if you do what I told you before, you have recovered all your deposits back, so the 25,000 times 4, which means you have again the 100k that you start with, plus the rent. That means you now have a deposit for 6 more properties, because this one will give you another 4 and this one will give you another 2. So now we're talking about serious property investments. Okay, that's it for now. So this is property investment basics. So buy to let, 2 different strategies, 100k, what do I do with it? And that's what you can do with it. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe, comment below, like and share it with whoever you want, and I'll reply personally to each comment. I'll see you later.